So the first tip that we're going to be talking about here is using different launch angles. What I mean by different launch angles is the direction your ball is going off your hand. So let's say, for example, on the fresh, you may want to be playing a straighter, so you're going to use like a straighter launch angle, but then as the lanes are opening up, you may need to send that ball to the friction as you standing far left. So you may need to have a different launch angle so you can achieve better carry. A great example of how changing your launch angle can help you to achieve better carry is when you're bowling on the fresh and you are having great carry, but as the lanes transition, you see your ball start hooking a little bit early and then you start leaving flat tens, your ball may start go a little bit high, or your ball start losing energy. So you may need to start moving towards the middle part of the lane, so the ball is gonna have a little bit more oil, but you still need to send that ball to the friction. So you need to make some adjustments to your game so you can effectively send that ball to the friction and achieve that desired angle that is going to have a better entry into the pocket and therefore is going to have better carry. Alright guys, so when playing straighter angles, the key is simply having your body aligned with your target. One way I like to look at it is simply using my shoulders as my aim. In this case, because I'm trying to go straight, I'm just gonna keep them as straight as possible. So when it comes to increasing your launch angle, that means when you may need to start moving left, but you still need to throw that ball to the friction. In other words, we usually kind of like opening up the lane. To help our body to throwing the ball in that direction is simply by pivoting our feet towards our target. And as I mentioned before, I really like to use my shoulders as a guide of where my ball is going. So in this case, because I'm farther left and I want to throw the ball to the same spot down lane, I'm moving my body towards the target and simply gonna throw the shot. So if you want to be competitive in today's game, you're gonna need to be versatile. You're gonna need to be able to adjust to the different types of lane conditions out there. So with your middle finger and ring finger occupied, here is how can you affect ball motion by changing the placement of your index finger and your pinky finger. So first, we're gonna go to the index finger. So the wider you have that index finger is the more it's gonna let you get around the ball. And the closer that you have it to your middle finger, the more forward roll that you will tend to have. So when it comes to the pinky finger, it works on the opposite way. So the more spread out you tend to have that pinky, is the more forward roll it will tend to have. And the closer to you have to your ring finger is gonna give you a higher axis of rotation. And then in order to maximize that side roll to give it like an extra higher axis of rotation, if you tuck your pinky, it will give you more potential to get more around the ball and therefore give it more axis of rotation. Alright guys, so the first trick here is spreading your index finger and your pinky finger. So this particular finger position is great when you need to keep your hand behind the ball and therefore giving you a lower axis of rotation. So when you're bowling on a harder pattern, when you need your ball to roll early and be smooth in the backhand, this type of finger placement is going to be the best. So the second tip here is tucking your pinky and spreading your index finger. This one is the one that gives me the most potential to get around the ball. By tucking my pinky and spreading my index finger, it allows me to create a higher axis of rotation and sharper angles down lane. Alright guys, so the third finger position that we're going to talk about is kind of like a middle ground between the two that we just talked about. So on this one, you're going to keep your pinky closer to your other fingers and your index finger spread out. So this one is going to allow you to still feel the ball on the back a little bit, but also it's going to give you the potential to get around the ball. So it's going to give you a little in between. Still, it's going to roll early, but also it's going to have enough side roll so it comes back strong in the backhand. Alright guys, so for the third tip here, we're actually going to look up your equipment. So we're going to focus on the surface aspect of your equipment. So by having different surfaces, you can actually achieve different ball motion down lane. So we're going to show you how a dull bowling ball and a shiny bowling ball can affect pin carry. So I've been throwing this asymmetric ball. It's a big ball, it's a hybrid, and I have it with a 1000 grit surface. I have the same exact version of this ball, almost the same layout, but with a shiny surface. So here, we're gonna show you the difference that having different surface on the same ball can affect your ball motion down lane, and it can help you to improve your carry. So usually on the fresh, I really like throwing dollar bowling balls because they're gonna help me to have a smoother ball reaction, it's gonna help me to have control, but one of the problems I'm gonna run into is that the ball may start hitting flat, it's gonna start hooking too early. So one way to counter that, to help us to improve our pin carry, is by simply using a ball with a different surface. So by having a shinier ball, it's gonna help us to get through the fronts a little bit better and increase our backhand reaction, and that's gonna change our pin entry angle, and it's gonna help us to improve our carry. So using different surfaces on your bowling balls is a great key to manipulate ball motion so you can improve your pin carry.